Hey guys, so unfortunately the hacker bots are back in Dead by Daylight, but this time it might be a way bigger problem than before. We're also going to quickly go over some new hacks in DBD that you may have run into and even briefly talk about hacks in VHS and Bloodhunt, the new vampire battle royal game. So let's get started. You might be wondering what the gameplay is in the background. This is nearly live gameplay being broadcasted on Twitch right now of an AI superbot absolutely destroying every player they come across. As of the time of this recording, they have logged over 500 kills between the two channels I was able to see. So as you can see on their website, they have 3 new hacks. Instant hook and sacrifice. Hooks and sacrifices all survivors, so kind of like instant escape but for the killer. Then we have magic bullets, which I'm sure you guys have run into. As the killer, this gives you an ability to throw hatchets and other projectiles through walls at any distance, and as survivor, it gives you the ability to blind the killer through walls at any distance. And then lastly, we have autoplay. Utilizes sophisticated AI to queue and play for you, basically automating whole gameplay, currently under development, and will soon have a patch. So I reached out to the hacker group and I said, I've heard about these bots before, but they disappeared very quickly. And he says, yes, Behavior patched them real quick. Our dev team has worked very hard on a new AI. These ones are impossible to beat unless you magically get the hatch to appear under you. So I said, how have they been upgraded over the original bots? And he says, these ones go through walls. So in a way, they're basically bots that are hacking, whereas the bots that were in the game previously were just players that basically played perfectly. And he says, yes, they're very obvious, so at least no subtle hacking bots. Now, the AI that was used previously was made by Behavior, and then the hackers took it and utilized it. But this AI is actually made by the hacker group from the ground up. So here he sent me links to the live streams of the hacker bots. He says many of us are waiting for a fix to the AI coming later before we stream it. This isn't even the hacker bot's final form. Apparently they're getting some kind of update very soon. So since this AI was developed by them, I assumed that it would be much more difficult for Behavior to be able to actually identify it. And he says, yes, Behavior can't get rid of this one without getting rid of hackers entirely. And we both know they're unable to do that. In which I responded that this is probably the beginning of a massive problem, right? And he says, yes, I assume it's going to be a fest for the next few weeks, and then people will be bored and mostly use it when they need to climb to higher MMR. So anyone can use these bots or just the admin? Anyone with access to our cheating software can use it. I've let it run for the last 9 hours and I had 2 escapes and 300 kills. So I asked him, could someone use these bots with your stream sniping software to target specific streamers? And he says, if they're in front of their PC, I suppose yes, but you got to hit the ready button manually with the stream snipe. So, and this is very important because if the hackers could just set their sights on a specific streamer, they could harass them 24/7 anytime they turn the game on with bots and basically completely ruin their ability to play the game. So at least there's a bit of a caveat that they have to manually start the stream sniping software in order to do that. So I asked him, you can let this thing run automatically for as long as you want then? And he says, yeah, the stream I sent you, the guy was sleeping while it did its thing. He then says, I ate dinner last night and it was running in the background while I watched Netflix. Out of curiosity, I asked him, is there any value a subtle cheater could get out of these bots? And he says 0. So at least we don't have to worry about subtle hacking bots. He says if a subtle cheater activates this, they're screwed if reported. Plus, it gives an automated message at the end of the game so anyone knows they've played against an AI. And I said, interesting, does it direct them to the stream? I saw a guy raging in the chat, so I assumed that the message must have had the name of the live stream in it. And he says, no, that's only that one specific guy has his character name as his live stream. The message itself directs people to their website so that they can become a customer. So I said, how many bots do you see being on the game if Behavior is unable to fix this? And he says, a few, but not that many, honestly. As I said, a few weeks, and people will most likely just use it to climb MMR. They'll set it up, go to bed, and come back to max MMR. Which, as you can imagine, is a massive problem in its own right. Just in one day between two streams, between the two of these guys, they've logged over 500 kills. If you had even a dozen people running this software all night for 10 hours without getting banned, that's thousands of survivors that are going to be having their matches ruined. So behavior, if they can't fix this, need to at least set something up to be able to quickly respond to reports. So I asked him, can the bots be killer or survivor? And he says, at the moment, only killer. And yes, although they don't use power, so it's mostly used on fast killers. Can the bots do anything malicious, like hold a player hostage, or are they just designed to win? And he said, nah, they just win. Sometimes the survivors will bug out and be stuck somewhere, so the bot needs to wait for them to bleed out, but that's pretty much the most extreme case of hostage. Typically, matches last 2 minutes or so with the bot. And then, as you'll see in the gameplay below, one of the bots on the stream followed a player around until a few gens popped without hitting him, and I wasn't really sure why that happened. So I asked him, and he says if he was playing Onryo, he needs to demanifest manually first before he can hit them. Another thing I noticed about this match is that there's one point here where the Onryo downs, I believe it's Meg, and she climbs through the window and she gets input tagged trying to pick up the Meg off the ground, and it made me curious. I wonder if you can go to a second story window with the right angle and have the AI keep coming around in a loop trying to pick you up and vaulting the window instead of actually being able to pick you up. So if you run into one of these bots, out of curiosity, just try that for me. But to get a clearer answer, I asked him straight up, is there any way to manipulate the AI in a match? I remember before that their pathing would break on farm tractors. And he says, this AI will just go through the tractor. There is no way to win anymore, which is pretty much what I figured. So I asked him, what's the value on streaming the AI bot? Is it mostly just an advertisement? And he said, yeah, mostly a showcase since it just released last night, and surprisingly lots of people like watching how the AI works. And to be fair, I hadn't really heard of anything like this happening in other games, to which he replied, yeah, it's pretty unique. So going back to his other point, I asked him, can you take manual control of these bots at any time? And he says, yes, one press of the button and he can take control. And then he shared this with me, we're getting a new game added to our list of hacks as well soon. The Bloodhunt trainer for the Vampire Battle Royale game. I'm very curious to see where this goes because the developers of Bloodhunt have been very transparent in their efforts to stop cheaters in this game, so we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. But this made me curious about VHS. So I asked him, do you have any plans to release hacks for VHS? And he says, we already had some for it during the beta. And as soon as the game releases, we'll make it our bitch like we did DBD. It will need a massive anti-cheat upgrade to survive, especially it being free to play. It will attract many more customers. And that's very true. The developers of VHS will need to put in a lot of work to keep their game cheater free. So we'll see how that develops as well. My last question to him was, what is your assumption on how long it will take behavior to fix this problem? And he humbly responded, 100 years if they're lucky. Also, the trainer works on the Epic Game Store accounts now too, so console icons don't mean it's not a cheater. Behavior didn't patch anything, we just improved stuff on our end. Okay guys, so there you have it. DBD will be overrun with immortal hacker bots for the next 100 years, and if you try to go play another game, it's already too late, it's infested with cheaters as well. Gaming is officially dead. Okay. I'm kidding, but let me know what you guys think about this. I'll be lurking in the comments section. Let me know if there's any questions you would like to ask these hacker groups in the future. Also, if anyone wants to use this video or any of my other hacker videos for a reaction or anything at all, go ahead, you have my full permission. And as always, I appreciate you all watching and have a good one.